यत्कीर्तनं यद्श्रवणं यदीक्षणं यद्वन्दनं यत्स्मरणं यदर्हणं लोकस्य सद्यो विघ्नोति कल्मषं तस्मै सुभद्रशवसे नमो नमः। निम्नगानां यथा गंगा देवानामच्युतो यथा वैष्णवानां यथा शंभु पुराणानामिदं तथा सर्वशास्त्रादि पीयूषा सर्वैदैक सत्फला सिद्धांत रत्नाद्या सर्वलोकैक दृक्पदा सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद् भागवत प्रभो कलिध्वांतोदित आदित्य श्री कृष्ण परवर्ती परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्षाय अक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्री कृष्णाय नमस्तुते मद एक बंधु मद संगिन मद गुरु मन महादन मन निस्तारक मद भाग्य मद आनंद मस्तुते असाधु साधु तादाइन अति नीचो कर आना मुंचा कदाचिन माम प्रेम न हृत्कंठ्यो सुरा यस्य वैश्वे माणायाम कृष्णे परम पुरुषे भक्ति उत्पद्यते पुंसा अशोक मोह भयापह। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। रीडिंग फ्रॉम श्रीमद् भागवतम कैंटो 4 चैप्टर 30 वर्स नंबर 36। यत् नारायणः साक्षात् भगवान् न्यासिनां गतिः संस्तूयते सत्कथासु मुक्संगहि पुनः पुनः। यत् नारायणः साक्षात् भगवान् न्यासिनां गतिः संस्तूयते सत्कथासु मुक्संगहि पुनः पुनः। यत् नारायणः साक्षात् भगवान् न्यासिनां गतिः संस्तूयते सत्कथासु मुक्संगहि पुनः पुनः। यत् नारायणः साक्षात् भगवान् न्यासिनां गतिः संस्तूयते सत्कथासु मुक्ता संगहि पुनः पुनः। यत् नारायणः साक्षात् भगवान् न्यासिनां गतिः संस्तूयते सत्कथासु मुक्संगहि पुनः पुनः। यत् नारायणः साक्षात् भगवान् न्यासिनां गतिः सत्कथासु मुक्संगहि पुनः पुनः। But to a translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yatra, where Narayana, Lord Narayan, Sakshat, directly, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yasinam, of persons in the renounced order of life, Gati, and the ultimate goal, Samstuyate, is worshipped, Sat Kathasu, by discussing the transcendental vibration, Muksangai, by those who are liberated from material contamination, Punah Punah, again and again. Translation. The Supreme Lord Narayan is present among devotees who are engaged in hearing and chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Narayana is the ultimate goal of sannyasis, those in the renounced order of life, and Narayan is worshipped through the Sankirtan movement by those who are liberated from material contamination. Indeed, they recite the holy name again and again. Purport. The Mayavadi sannyasis are missing the real presence of Narayana. This is because they falsely claim to be Narayan himself. According to the customary etiquette of Mayavadi sannyasis, they address one another as Narayan. To say that everyone is a temple of Narayan is correct, but to accept another human being as Narayan is a great offense. The conception of Daridra Narayan, poor Narayan, an attempt to identify the poor with Narayan is also a great offense. Even to identify Narayan with demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva is an offense. Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahma Rudradi Devahetai Samsteyain Viksheta Tapashandi Bhavet Dhruvam. One who considers Lord Narayan on a level with great demigods like the Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva is immediately listened among non-believers. The fact is that by performing Sankirtan Yagna, one can immediately please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then Narayan himself descends and immediately is present. In the age of Kali, Narayan is immediately present in the form of Lord Chaitanya. Concerning Lord Chaitanya, Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32 states, Krishnavanam Trisha Krishnam Sangopangsastra Parshadam Yagnai Sankirtanai Prayai Yajante Hi Sumedsa. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. After all, human life is meant for pleasing Narayan, and this can easily be done by performing Sankirtan Yagna. Whenever there is a congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord, holy names of the Lord, God, Narayan, the Supreme Personality of God in his incarnation as Lord Chaitanya, immediately appears and is worshipped by Sankirtan Yagna. In this verse, it is said that Narayan is Nyasinam Gati, the ultimate goal of sannyasis. The goal of those who have renounced the material world is the attainment of Narayan. A Vaishnava sannyasi, therefore, dedicates his life to serving Narayan. He does not falsely claim to be Narayan. Instead of becoming Nirvair, non-envious of other living entities, one who tries to become Narayan becomes envious of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, the attempt to become Narayan constitutes the greatest offense. Actually, when one chants or discusses the transcendental activities of the Lord, he immediately becomes non-envious. In this material world, everyone is envious of everyone else. But by vibrating or discussing the holy name of the Lord, one becomes non-envious and devoid of material hankering. Because of our envy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have become envious of all other living beings. When we are no longer envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there will be real peace, unity, and fraternity in human society. Without Narayan or Sankirtan Yagna, there cannot be peace in this material world. Prabhupada ki jai. Narayanam Mukam karoti vachalam pangulangayate grim yatkripatam vande Shri Guru Dina Taranam. Let us have a look at the background of this verse which is being discussed today. When Maitreya Muni in the previous chapter, that is chapter number 29, concluded the story of Puranjan, in which he also made a mention of Pachetas. So naturally, there was some curiosity by Vidurji. Vidurji wanted to know as to what happened to Prachetas. What did they achieve by performing austerities? So Maitreya Muni informs to Vidurji that Prachetas who perform severe austerities within the sea waters for 10,000 years. And also they glorified the mantras given by Lord Shiva, who met them on their way to sea. When they performed their austerities, Lord, being pleased with their efforts, appeared before him, appeared before them in his 8-armed forms. Lord, when Lord met them or gave darshan to them, Lord offered them a benediction. And Prachetas, and told Prachetas that you will get a son. And he also instructed them to marry a girl who was brought up by moon god. So, influenced by the presence of Supreme Lord, Prachetas offered very beautiful prayers. And today's verse is one of those prayers. While I'll speak on today's verse, but I also want to have a little bit touch base on a previous verse, which is again a prayer to the Supreme Lord. In verse number 22, Prachetas made a mention of deity worship, Archa Vigraha form. And in a way, Prachetas express gratitude to the Lord that Lord allows them to be engaged in deity worship. Since me and my wife are also engaged in deity service for a little bit, and we also have our own deities at home. We serve them. So on that, I wanted to make some comments based on my realization and experience. I sometimes think that Lord is very, very kind, that in spite of having a very abominable body, Lord still allows us to touch him, touch his Archa Vigraha form, allows us to massage him, allows us to put cloth on him. It's all because of the mercy of the Lord. If we consider the situation of our body of 9 gates, as is said in Bhagavad Gita, Navdvare Pure Devi, Nav Kurvanna Karyam, Sar Karmani Mansas, Sar Sanyasaste Sukham Vashi, Navdvare Pure Devi, Nav Kurvanna Karyam. This body of 9 gates is throwing only bad elements from all the 9 gates. There is nothing which is pleasant. But in spite of that, Lord allows us to serve him. And another thing is that from deity service, we have sometimes chance of getting assembled at devotee's house. And on occasions like when the host wants to offer 56 offering, Chappan Bhog, to Lord like Jagannath or God Nitai. At that time, we get invitation to bring our own deities also. And we with pleasure, we take all the deities. And then there are sets of deities sitting on a platform in the house. At that time, I have another realization that when the program is over, everybody is taking his deity. At that time, I think that since all are same, for instance, if we have taken God Nitai, and since all are God, and why we are insisting on having our own deity? Because we have some attachment with them. Although in principle, we know that all are God. And then another aspect of this is that God Himself divides and allows us to have a personal relationship to the deity worship. So in that sense, deity worship is very, very important. And now coming to today's verse. The first sentence of the translation says, the Supreme Lord Narayan is present among devotees who are engaged in hearing and chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. On this, Narad Muni also has something to say. Narad Muni says, and it is the same thing, Pragayata Swaviryani Tirtpada Priya Shava Ahut Eve Me Shigram Darshanam Yati Chetsi. Narad Muni says that Pragayata Swaviryani. As soon as I sing, Pragayata means sing, Swaviryani, his glories, whose glory? Tirtpadas. Tirtpada is another name of the Lord, at whose lotus feet all the auspiciousness or all the pilgrimage exist. Priya Shava, when I sing, it is very pleasant to hear. And then Ahu, as soon as I call out, Ahut e me Shigram. As soon as I call out, Shigram means immediately. Shigram Darshanam Yati Chetsi. Lord gives, Lord manifests in the seat of the heart immediately. So it is the same thing which is said in the translation, that as soon as we chant, the Supreme Lord is immediately, in a moment, he comes and sits in the seat of our heart. Now, there are two things out of this I can say. One is that Prachetas are demonstrating the perfect example of following disciplic succession. Whatever they heard from their guru, they are saying the same thing. Remember, this verse is being spoken by, today's verse is being spoken by Prachetas. And Prachetas are saying the Supreme Lord Narayan is present immediately among devotees as soon as the glorification is done. And Bhagwan Narad Muni also said the same thing. If we recall, when the Prachetas were going towards sea, at that time Narad Muni had met them. And Narad Muni also gave them spiritual instructions apart from Prachetas getting mantra from Lord Shiva. So in that sense, Prachetas are showing example of a very good disciple. In this connection, I remember His Holiness Gaur Krishna Maharaj gave a very good example as to how a disciple should speak on Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. Maharaj said that our situation is just like this mic or loudspeaker. The role of mic or a loudspeaker is to amplify the sound or the speech speaker is making. So in that sense, whatever we hear from our Guru Janas or Acharyas, we have to act like a loudspeaker. We just have to catch and pass it on. We have not to add anything from our side, in a sense. For instance, I am speaking now and this mic is relaying my voice. Sometimes we have all noticed that due to some technical problem, the mic starts making sound of its own, like, and then it's very irritating to audience. So same way, if we also start adding anything in preaching from our side, then it will also cause such unfavorable reaction. So the point is that whatever we hear from our Guru Janas, Acharyas, we have to pass it on. We have not to add anything from our side. And second thing is that how come the Lord comes immediately in our heart? In that connection, Srila Prabhupada makes a mention in the purport that there is no difference between Krishna and his name, form, pastimes. It is not, so it should not be very astonishing to know that as soon as we chant Krishna, the being same, the absolute truth being same, So he immediately comes in our heart. Srila Prabhupada makes another interesting point here. It is, Srila Prabhupada says that it is a natural psychology of a human being that when his name is called out, he immediately uh, gets attracted to it, or when particularly when the glorification is being done of that person, then he likes it. And Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna is no exception. And because Krishna has his own personality, he's an individual. But apart from that, there's another aspect of it. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam parivartate. Everything comes from me. So even this psychological characteristics of getting attracted originally comes from Krishna. And a very small part of it has come into us. So therefore, it should not be taken as a big surprise that the moment we chant Krishna's name, he is immediately present within us. It is only because of our contaminated mind that we are not able to see him. But by practicing chanting, hopefully we will all be able to see Krishna one to one. Now, a question may be raised that when we chant, is it due to our own efforts? We are using our tongue, we are using our mind, we are using our body while glorifying Lord, then is it due to our own effort? No. Srila Rupa Goswami does not agree on that. Therefore, he says that Ata Shri Krishna Madi na bhaved graham indriyam sevana mukho hi jihavdu swam ev spurtada. Ata, therefore, Shri Krishna Madi, the name of Shri Krishna, his glorification, form, qualities, when do they come on our tongue? When Sevno Mukho Jihadu. This Sevno Mukho is a word which can be broken into two. Sevno. When one is ready to start devotional service, and the other word is Unmukhe. Unmukhe means marching. With enthusiasm, when we are marching on the path of devotional service, at that time, because uh, at that time it appears on our tongue on its own accord. Why it comes on our own accord? Because it manifests on its own. Our blunt senses are unable to perceive it. So therefore, when we decide to chant or when we decide to perform devotional service, the Lord's name appear on our tongue on its own accord. Then another question may be asked that how much chanting we should do to achieve the perfection of going back to Godhead. How much chanting we should do? One answer may be, a devotee may be prompted to say that, 16 rounds. But that's correct, partially. When we are initiated, at that time, we take a vow in front of our spiritual master that we will chant. But that's a minimum. Sometimes we miss the word. There's minimum chanting of 16 rounds. So then again, the question still remains as to how much chanting we should have so that we can achieve what we desire to. In that connection, even though it is not specifically mentioned by Chanakya Pandit, but Chanakya Pandit has something to say. Chanakya Pandit says that there are three things on which one should be very satisfied. And then there are three things on which one should not be satisfied at all. Chanakya Pandit says, Santoshastrishu kartavya swadare bhojane dhane trishu chaivnas kartavyo dhyanan japdaneo. The three things on which one should be satisfied is Swadare, his own wife, one's own wife. After marriage, one should not look at other women, and one should be very satisfied with his own wife. Of course, it does not apply at this stage to the brahmacharis. But the other is Swadare, Bhojane. Whatever by providence has appeared on our prasadam plate, we should be satisfied with that. Sometimes some devotees have a habit of saying, pointing out negatively, even though there are 10 items on the plate, but they will say, oh, I wish there was some papadam, or I wish there was some pickle. So they are not satisfied with what they have on the plate. So Chanakya Pandit is advising that by providence, whatever has come in your plate, please accept that and honor it happily. The third is dhane. One should be satisfied with whatever money one has, and one has earned it by honest means. One should not think that why Bill Gates has so much money and why I could not have. So one should be satisfied with the money one has. And now we talk about the other three things on which one should be always dissatisfied. Chanakya Pandit advises that Adhyanan is the first item. Study of Vedic literature. One should not be satisfied that today I have read 20 verses from Srimad Bhagavatam and that's it. I'm very satisfied. No. In this connection, His Holiness Devata Maharaj, in his book, Searching for Vedic India, he writes that a large bookstore can accommodate a minuscule portion of the Vedic literature, thereby giving us information, the vastness of Vedic literature. It is so vast that even one lifetime is not sufficient to complete it. So in that sense, one should not be satisfied, and one should always be finding out time and eager to read more and more and more. And second is japa. Remember, we are talking about how much chanting should be done. So Chanakya Pandit is saying that chanting one should not be satisfied. Like today I have done maybe 64 rounds. One can say, I'm feeling great. No, you don't feel great. Keep chanting more and more. Then, as we all know, there are three types of chanting: Vachika, Upamshu, and Mansi. So to achieve the perfection, one has to elevate to the level of Mansi chanting, so that even without bothering about the number, after performing the specified number, even without bothering about the number, one is always chanting in the mind. That's the way we can chant. And third is Dhanayam. One should not be satisfied with whatever amount of donation one has given. Dan doesn't mean charity, but Dan means donation. Donation for the cause of propagating Krishna consciousness, not otherwise. Otherwise, in Bhagavad Gita, Dan is also specified, categorized in three modes. Charity in, or Dan in mode of goodness, and mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. So we should be careful that when we are donating in the mode of goodness, not in the mode of passion and ignorance. And precisely that means that we should contribute to people who are propagating Krishna's name, or to organization like our temple, our organization ISKCON, and we are engaged in the, as an organization, we are engaged in the propagation of Krishna consciousness. Now, how is chanting connected with devotional service, or how important it is to chant the holy name? I would like to quote one instance. with which we can understand how important it is to chant the holy name. When Putna was killed by Lord Krishna as a baby, he was just a few months old only, maybe 5 months if I'm not mistaken, and he killed Putna. And when Putna was killed, uh, Putna along with Krishna fell in the area of Brajmandal. And when it happened, the gopis who had paternal love for Krishna, they were concerned that Krishna is not hurt or Krishna is safe, because eh, Krishna was playing like an innocent child on the she demon Putna, and they were all concerned. So without bothering about their own safety, they rushed to pick up Krishna from Putna's body. And after picking up baby Krishna, they first, as it is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, they first gave him a bath. Bath with what? A cow urine. And then they also smeared a cow dung on his body to remove any inauspicious thing. And then the gopis applied various tilkas of the cow dung on Krishna's body, like Rishikesh Ainama, may Lord Rishikesh protect your senses, something like that. Then various names are spoken of Krishna, and then prayer is made to that particular name of the Lord to protect Krishna. So looking at this situation, one commentator in the name of Srila Harisori, he said, look, Krishna, you are protector of three worlds, but you are being protected by your name only. So that means your name is more powerful than you. So in that sense, chanting is more effective than any other form of service. This situation of chanting and glorifying Lord is very well realized by Kunti Maharani. When Krishna decided to go back to Dwarka from Indraprastha after Mahabharat, Krishna went to the palace of the ladies of Pandava family, and he went there to say goodbye and to uh, go back to Dwarka. At that time, he met Kunti Maharani, mother of Pandavas. So Kunti Maharani offered 26 very beautiful verses of prayer. In fact, this is the first set of prayers by a woman in Srimad Bhagavatam. Second is by Bhishma Dev. In these 26 verses, Kunti Maharani identifies the causes of Krishna's appearance. And first, Kunti Maharani says that you, Lord Krishna, you appeared just to please the Yadu clan. Kechid aur hamjata punya shlokasya kirte yado priya anvaya malyasya yev chandanam. Then she says that you also appeared to please Vasudev and Devaki, your parents, to give them pleasure. Apare Vasudeva se Devakya yajto bhagyan ajasattvasya shemaya vadhaya cha swadishtam. You also came to kill the people, the demons who were inimical to demigods. And then she also says that Bhavesmin Klishyamananam avidya kam karam bhi shravan samaran aharnani Krishna iti kechan. Now, Kunti Maharani is giving a generalized kind of statement that you appeared in this material world to give relief to people who are suffering. Suffering from what? Avidya, Kam, Karam bhi. three causes of our suffering. Kunti Maharani identifies: avidya, ignorance; kam, desire for sense gratification; and karambi, fruity action of the previous lives. Bhavesmin krishyamanan, bhavesmin krishyamananam, avidya kam karambi, smaran shravan aharnani krishnati krishnati kechan. Others says, kechan in others. Others say that you appeared to deliver people who are suffering in this material world from these three things, avidya, kam, karambi. By how they get delivered? Shravan, Saman, Aharnani. By hearing, Shravan, Saman, by remembering you, and by Aharn, by worshipping you. So by these three things, you have appeared. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, this is the real reason of Krishna's appearance, to deliver people from the material world who are suffering because of these three things: avidya, kam, karambi. Let's have some understanding about the word with avidya. Avidya means ignorance. Last time also, I think 2 weeks before, I spoke on this word, and I missed a point. I just to restate. I'm restating that explanation just to highlight what I missed. In this connection, in Bhagavatam, the word with avidya is explained. Avidya is created by, this is the first creation of Brahmaji from the shadow of his body. The verse says, Sasar Chayam Vidyam Panch Paramanam Sasar Chayam Vidyam Panch Paramanam Agrata. Panch Paranam Agrata, Tamishram and Tamishram, Tamo Moha Mahatama. Brahmaji created first 5 types of ignorances from the shadow of his body, and then he also felt very frustrated what I have created. And the first is Tamishram. And Tamishram means believing, a belief by a living entity or human being that I am the God. And Andhatamishram, the belief or the ignorance that everything is finished with the death. And then Tamo, I am this body. And Mahatama, attachment with the body. Anything and everything related to the body is mine. That is Moha. Mahatama, madness after sense gratification. The point I missed to say was that the third item in this series of avidya, that is tama, is the cause of other 4 items. As long as we believe that I am this body, the other ignorances will also touch us. Now, since we are talking about avidya, let's also talk about vidya. Vidya means knowledge. What is vidya? That is very nicely explained and very precisely by Ramanand Rai in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhagwan Chaitanya raises a question among many questions. This is one of the questions. Bhagwan says, कौन विद्या विद्या मध्य सार, राय कहे कृष्ण भक्ति बिना विद्या नहीं हार. Lord Chaitanya asked Ramanand Rai, among the knowledges, which is the perfect knowledge? प्रभु कहे कौन विद्या विद्या मध्य सार, राय कहे कृष्ण भक्ति बिना विद्या नहीं हार. And Ramanand Rai says that devotional service to the Lord is the only knowledge. Others are all ignorances. How do we understand that? Like there are so many disciplines of knowledges in the material world, engineering, medical, etc., all those accounting, etc. They are all for udar bharan, for filling the tummy. Padam Puran defines that what is the purpose of knowledge, vidya. Sa vidya ya muktayet. The knowledge is that which can liberate us from this material world. So therefore, Krishna, therefore, Ramanand Rai perfectly said that Krishna Bhakti is the only knowledge. The others are ignorances. Now, Kunti Maharani also says that uh, how the devotional service affects us, how it can benefit us. Shrinvanti gayanti grananti apikshancha samranti nandanti tahitam jana te pachnate achirena tavakam bhav pravaho parmam padambujam. Kunti Maharani says that when one engages in Shrinvanti, when hearing, when gayanti, when singing, grananti abhikshancha, constantly, when he engages in devotional service, samaranti, when remembering, nandanti, when giving pleasure to other devotees, tav jana, about your activities. When one engages in these activities, taev pashnate, then at that time, that person sees the Lord achieving without delay, without any delay. पश्यते अचिरेण तावकम bhav pravaho paramam padambujam. In this material world, those who are suffering, and when they get engaged in devotional service, then they see the Lord immediately. Padam bhujam. Te pashnate achiren tavakam bhav pravaho paramam padambujam. Your lotus feet, O Lord. This is what Kunti Maharani is praying. We have also, after reading Bhagavatam, we have also experienced that those who had engaged in devotional service while Krishna was present on this in this world, they were able to see, like Arjun, Yudhishthira, Narad Muni, who is a constant devotee. But on the other hand, in spite of the fact that Krishna was present, the non-devotees, for example, Kamsa, Jarasandha, or Shishupal. Shishupal was a born abuser of Krishna, and they were not able to realize because they did not perform devotional service. So the point here is that only through devotional service one can understand Krishna, as is confirmed by Krishna also in Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter, second last verse. Bhakta na tu abhi janati ya no sorry bhakta tavanya shakya aham eva vidho arjun yatum drishtum tatvena praveshtum cha parantam. Krishna says that one can enter into the mystery of my existence, my position, only by devotional service. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. And since we are now coming close to this talk, I will just recite one prayer from Narayan Kavach. And because this verse essentially talked about worship of Narayan. This is from 6th canto. Om Harir Vidyanamam Sarvaraksham Nastangari Padma Patagendra Prashte Darari Charmasi Gadeshu Chapa Pashan Dadhanu Shat Guno Shat Bahu. Om Harir Vidyanamam Sarvaraksham Nastangari Padma Patengar Patengendra Prashte Darari Charmasi Gadeshu Chapa Pashan Dadhanu Shat Guno Shat Bahu. In this prayer, it is said that Om, O Supreme Lord, Harir, Vidyanamam Sarvaraksham. Please bestow me your mercy to protect me from all sides. Nyastangari Padma Patgendra Prashte. The Lord who is situated on the back of his carrier Garuda, and in his Ashtabahu, 8 arms, he is carrying 8 things. Dar means conch shell. Ari, disc. Charm, shield. Asi, sword. Gada, club. Issue, arrows. Chap, bow. And pashan, ropes. So he is carrying these 8 things in his hand. So we pray to that Supreme Lord that he protects us from all sides. So with that, I will end it here. In case anyone wants to add anything, please feel free. I think uh, first of all, we should hear, for instance, when we are hearing lectures, we should hear lecture of devotees who are following exactly their Guru Maharaj. In other words, um, we when we hear our Guru Maharaj, or when I say Guru Maharaj, I'm not limiting to initiating Guru Maharaj. All are our Guru Maharaj. Even you people are our Guru Maharaj, because you are asking questions and then it makes us to realize what answer we have to give. So in that sense, everybody is spiritual master. Now, how do we identify when somebody is speaking uh, in essence philosophy which is exactly in conjunction with what we have heard from Srila Prabhupada or our Guru Maharajas, and then we should stick to that. Now, somebody who's picked up some wrong impressions, I don't know why they pick up wrong impressions, because Srila Prabhupada's books are very clear. That does not leave scope for misinterpretation. If somebody is misinterpreting, it is because of his inability to pick up the right thing. So the best thing would be to not to listen to such kind of conversations and such kind of understanding. Uh, by by staying uh, in the association of devotees, we can figure out that this person is speaking exactly as being taught by our acharyas and gurus. And if someone is going out of the way, we can say Hare Krishna to him, but we can avoid getting engaged in spiritual conversations or scriptural conversation. That's what I would do in a situation like that. I hope it satisfies. That's all. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की